Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Triple N Media. I am NIK NIKAM. In this presentation, I'm going to show you how to use Lightroom to change pictures that you have taken using any camera. I was using a Nikon D750 with a kit lens built into that is 24 to 120 millimeters with f4, a few images that I have taken and how I adjust to bring some more life into these pictures. Let me switch over to my Lightroom. Here we are in the Lightroom, and this is a picture which I have taken. There are a whole bunch of pictures which I'm going to show you later on. First, this picture looks okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this picture. There's nothing wrong with this picture, but you can't see all these people's faces, and there's a lot of like a flat image. So what can we do to this image? And here are the controls: exposure, contrast, highlight, shadows, whites, blacks. This is where we are going to play with it. To me, this looks like already an overexposed picture. First, I would like to trim off things that I am not interested in taking. I press C like a caret and then try to bring this one down so that I will be focusing mostly on these idols or the rishis or the saints as they are called in the Indian language. So the next step I'm going to do is, since we are dealing with like dolls or objects, it's very easy to play with the control, highlight and all these things, but we can't do that on people's faces too much because it's going to cause a lot of contrast. So let's start off with the lighting. I may leave the exposure right now to where it is. So I'm going to go to contrast, go all the way to one extreme or to the other extreme. As you can see, this area becomes different. What I want to do is make everything darker and the idols brighter. So what I want to do is I want to bring this one down. See, as this sort of maroon color blanket is maroon color sheet is turning darker, so I would like to do it as much as I can without affecting the dolls here. So I move the contrast all the way up to here. So next, let's look at the highlights. So we go to one extreme. Okay, this one makes everything dull, but it also makes the faces look a little bit better because originally the picture was overexposed. So let's see if we can cut down the highlights a little bit. Okay, I'm going to just leave it here, the highlights. So now we can see their faces a little bit better and the contrast is much better. Shadows is about the darker colors. So if I bring it, it makes it much darker. You remember the first time when we started, it was so light, this maroon. Now it's turning darker. When the background turns darker, the images light up. As you can see, these rishis are coming out of their mantles here, as you can see. Now the whites are these ones. So either if you go this way, it will get brighter, and if you go this way, it will get too bright. So we want to just see if we can cut the white. Mainly we are looking at their faces and see if we can improve their faces outlook better. So the whites, it should be okay because we don't want too much white, so we're going to cut the white a little bit so that, okay, that's good. Now the blacks, if you bring it down, it becomes more darker, and look at this maroon one, which is almost becoming like a dark maroon from which was like a light maroon, and all these black panels, these pedestals are turning black. So we want to see how it affects their hair. Also becomes black, which gives contrast so that we can see their faces much better. And here is, I think I'm just going to leave it at this stage. So this is quite different from a picture which I have taken another picture. So this is the one we have fixed, and here's the next picture. Here's a picture before that, which was all set together. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset all these things so we can compare this. Okay, this is how the picture was, and now this is how the picture looks. It looks a little bit darker, but if you want, we can just lighten it up a little bit so that, but if I lighten it, their faces becomes kind of washed out. So just maybe half a step. Now this is the finished product as far as I can see through my eyes. But what do you think? Let's do another one just for fun. And here, let me come to this one here. And this one sort of looks very flat to me. This is a nice brass statue, and plus it has sort of a brass color arch here. So let's see what we can do with this one. I don't need to trim this one because the frame perfectly fits the picture. So I'm going to start off with the exposure. The exposure is already high, but if I go here, then if I come down here, so my exposure is perfect as far as I can see. But when I start using the contrast, what I would like to do is make the statues stick out while the background becomes darker. So that's our contrast. So see, you already begin to see the statues are getting like a three-dimensional appearance compared to the previous one. So let me put it back here. As you can see, it was flat with the wall, and now by just increasing the contrast, and the best thing about contrast is we can increase as much as we want because we are dealing with objects here. So that contrast should be here. I'll come back. Highlights, let's bring it down. I would just leave it here because when I'm looking at highlights, the cheeks, basically the focus should be on the face. How can we improve the entire body to stand out? Shadows. Oh, the shadows are good, really helping, because now the background is separating itself from the statues compared to what it was when I said it was flat. There's not much white here, but we can see what white can do. Okay, I like to do this because since this is metal, it is not polished like gold or silver, so it is a sort of a dullish color. So we need to maintain that natural look of this metal here, which is supposed to be like a polished brass, something like that. Okay, let's go to the blacks here. Oh yeah, the blacks really helped a little bit because that will kind of highlight some of these lines in the statue curves. So there you go, gentlemen, and this is how it looks after it is fixed. I hope you have been able to learn something, but let me go back to people here. So if I want to work on people like this person, what I have done is use effects. I had to increase the exposure because of a darker skin color, but here clarity is something that we can drop to make the skin look smooth. Let me bring it down to 0 and see the face looks kind of, let me expand on this face, then I will show the difference. So if I bring down the clarity, as I bring down the clarity, the face becomes a little bit softer, and you can see that in much younger people much better. But anyway, that looks better. So that's all, folks, for this presentation. I still have a lot of slides to work on, but you get the idea, and that's how you just play with it. It's a matter of your imagination and your ultimate satisfaction that decides what looks best. I hope you have enjoyed this brief presentation on how to use Lightroom when you are dealing with objects, and I hope you have learned something. Thank you so much. We have several videos on how to use Lightroom. You can watch those. I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much.